In this chapter, we will see the Mughals and the chroniclers they have appointed to write about their proceedings of courts. The Mughal kings they commissioned court historians for writing the accounts of their achievements. In these, the events of the emperor's times were recorded, and the writers they used to collect vast amounts of information from the regions of subcontinent, and it helped the rulers to govern their domains. The modern historians who write history in English they have termed those accounts as chronicles because the accounts or the written records they give information in chronological order. These chronicles they are an indispensable source for any scholar who wish to write history of the Mughals. They were the repository of factual information about the institution of the Mughal state. They were intended as conveyors of the meanings that the Mughal rulers sought to impose on their domain. Now, how this name Mughal was given? This term Mughal is actually derived from Mongol, but the Mughal kings they did not call themselves as the Mughals. They called themselves as Timurids, that is the descendants of Turkish ruler Timur. It was during the 16th century that the Europeans they started using the term Mughals to describe the branch of the family of Timur, and that's how they got this name Mughals. In this we have Zahiruddin Babur, Nasiruddin Humayun, Jalaluddin Akbar, and then the successors of Akbar. Zahiruddin Babur was actually the founder of the Mughal Empire, which he established in 1526 by defeating the Lodi kings of Delhi Sultanate. Babur was actually expelled from his homeland of Fargana by the Uzbeks, and he first established himself at Kabul, and then in 1526 he moved further into the Indian subcontinent to win the territories and resources to satisfy the needs of his clan. After Babur, it was Nasiruddin Humayun who succeeded him in 1530, but an Afghan leader, Sher Shah Suri, drove him to exile, and he refused in the court of Safavid rulers of Iran in 1555. He defeated Sher Shah Suri and regained his capital. Then Akbar or Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar, who is considered to be a great ruler of the Mughal Empire, he expanded the empire and made it as the largest, strongest, and the richest kingdom at the time of his rule, and he was able to expand his empire up to the Hindu Kush mountains and prevented the Uzbeks and Safavids to enter into the subcontinent. The successors of Akbar were Jahangir, who ruled for 22 years, Shah Jahan, who ruled for 30 years, and Aurangzeb, who ruled for almost 49 years. The Mughal imperial structure was created in the 16th and 17th century. It had effective methods of administration and taxation. The Mughal court was the center of the Mughal power, where political alliances and relationships were made and status and hierarchies were defined. The political system of Mughals was based on a combination of military power accommodating various traditions of the subcontinent that the Mughals faced. In the beginning, we have discussed about chronicles, and as the chapter is all about chronicles, so let's have a look at some reasons that why the chronicles were produced. The chronicles written during the Mughal period, they are an important source of study. They were written to convey a vision of enlightened kingdom to all those who came under the umbrella of the Mughal Empire. It was also written to convey to those who resisted the rule of the Mughals that all resistance was destined to fail, and it was written, that is, the chronicles were written to ensure that there was an account of their rule for prosperity. The authors of the chronicles, that is, the chroniclers, they were court historians in the Mughal Empire. The histories, they were written by them, which was focused on events centered on the ruler, his family, the court and nobles, wars and administrative system. The titles of the chronicles like Akbar Nama, Shah Jahan Nama and Alamgir Nama, they indicate that the history of the empire and the court was synonymous with that of the emperor. The Mughals, they were Chagatai Turks by origin, and Turkish was their mother tongue. But the first ruler Babur, he wrote poetry and his memoirs Babarnama in Turkish language. But Persian, it developed as a leading language at the time of the Mughal rule in India. Persian was a court language and literary writings of sultans of Delhi, and it flourished with local variants like Hindvi. It came to be known as Hindvi. It was Akbar who consciously developed Persian as a leading language in the Mughal court, and Mughal official histories such as Akbarnama, they were written in Persian. Other chronicles such as Babur's memoirs, they were translated from Turkish into Persian, Baburnama. The court historians of the Mughals, they translated Sanskrit texts such as Ramayana and Mahabharata into Persian, and the Mahabharata was translated as the Razmnama. Razm, that is war, so Razmnama, that is the book of wars. And those who had command on Persian, they were conferred power and prestige, and it was spoken by the king, the elite and the people at the royal court, that is, the Persian became the royal language. Persian language, it influenced other Indian languages such as Rajasthani, Marathi and Tamil, and it became Indianized by observing idiom and vocabulary from the Indian languages. Now we will see the manuscripts. Manuscripts actually are the manual scripts or the scripts written by hand. The books written in the Mughal India, they were manuscripts that were handwritten. The work of manuscript production was carried out by the imperial Kitab Khana, that could be translated as library, that is, the library during the Mughal time was known as Kitab Khana, but it was only for scriptorium, that is, here the books were only produced, they were not kept as a record, and it was the place where emperor's collection of manuscripts was kept and new manuscripts were produced. The creation of manuscripts involved many tasks, like the paper makers, they prepared folios of the manuscripts, then the scribes or calligraphers, they copied the text, the gilders, they illuminated the pages, the painters, they illustrated the scenes from the text, and the bookbinders, they gathered the individual folios and set them within ornamental covers. and the finished manuscripts, they were considered as a precious object with intellectual work and beauty. The people who were involved in the production of manuscripts, they were recognized with titles and awards, and the calligraphers and painters were held high in the status, while the paper makers and bookbinders, they remained anonymous artisans. The calligraphy was considered a skill of great importance, as the manuscripts of the Mughals were handwritten, so it was practiced with different styles, and Akbar's favorite handwritten style was the Nastaliq, which was a fluid style with long horizontal strokes. It was written using a piece of trimmed reed which had a tip of 5 to 10 millimeter called kalam, and this reed was dipped in carbon ink, that is siyahi, and the nib of the kalam was split in the middle to facilitate the flow of ink. That's all we have in this video. In the next videos we will see the different chronicles written by Abul Fazl and the main characteristics of Akbar Nama. Thank you and have a nice day.